Security from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
We love Great Britain. We love its history, its culture and its tradition, and that's why we're so proud to be part of GB News.
You look genuinely emotional. Oh, come here.
GB News does pay attention to those who are ignored by the mainstream media. The majority of this country whose forefathers fought and died to maintain liberty, to fight for freedom of speech.
The rule of law, the rights of property and democracy. This is the heritage that our country should be so proud of.
Which of course includes our Christian heritage. There's been a huge resurgence in the number of people going to church. Perhaps they're not finding what they're looking for, and they're looking for something a bit deeper, a bit more truthful, a bit more akin to Britain's Christian heritage.
That's right, get ready, because the most exciting night in general election history starts now!
It's 9 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight,
they've caved, they've collapsed. It's a victory for reform, but more importantly, it's a victory for democracy in this country. We are delighted.
democracy 1, Starmer's dictatorship 0. Starmer U-turns on local elections. Plus, we've smashed another illegal migrant gang. They're posing as lorry park workers to break into Britain. And
well, I've been stabbed twice in London. That's the basis. There you go.
It's a big city. Sadly, that happens sometimes.
Sorry? What? Just unbelievable. Unbelievable, isn't it? Should police shoot people that they see carrying knives in the street? That's the debate. Also,
Free Palestine. Free Palestine, my movement.
Palestine activists were harassing people again this weekend. That's a famous face there. Wonder if you can recognise who it is. And a free speech union report claims that the people involved in the Islamophobia definition have, are you ready for this? Apparently, they've allegedly got links to Islamist organisations. No way! Who could have seen that coming? On my panel tonight, we have got Daily Express columnist Carol Malone, journalist Benjamin Butterworth, and ex-Tory party chairman, now Reform UK member, Sir Jake Berry, and aliens are real.
Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in, what is it?
Area 51.
Area 51.
Feel like that should be quite big news. Anyway, get ready, Britain, here we go. We have smashed an illegal migrant gang. Next.
Very good evening. It's just gone 9 o'clock. These are your latest headlines. Top story, the government has abandoned plans to delay local elections in 30 council areas after receiving fresh legal advice warning that the move would be unlawful. Labour had proposed cancelling votes affecting more than 4.5 million people to create capacity for a major restructuring of English local government. Reform UK leader Nigel Farage spoke to GB News earlier and praised the announcement after originally plotting legal action.
The government obviously knew they were going to lose. The boss of the Electoral Commission said what they'd done was illegal. Clearly, the government's own lawyers believed they'd acted illegally, and so they caved in, and 4.6 million people, or should I say 4.6 million council taxpayers, because that to me is the key point, will now get the vote. So yes, it's a legal victory, it's a victory for our party, but above all, it's a victory for freedom and democracy.
Now, all AI chatbots must be held to account. That's the message from the Prime Minister after Grok chatbot was found to have generated non-consensual sexualised images. Sir Keir Starmer says that the government went into battle with the platform and won after the feature was removed, but warns that action must now go further, insisting that no platform gets a free pass. The comments come as ministers set out wider plans to toughen online safety rules, including limiting children's contact with chatbots, blocking VPN access to harmful content, and consulting on tougher social media restrictions. But critics still say that the proposals don't go far enough. More than 170,000 current and former students are taking legal action against dozens of universities, claiming that they didn't get the education they paid for during the pandemic. Legal letters have now been sent to a further 36 institutions after a settlement between University College London and student claimants. The cases centre on tuition fees paid for in-person teaching that was instead delivered online during lockdowns. Lawyers say that students missed out on facilities, campus life and key learning experiences, calling it one of the greatest injustices of the pandemic. The deadline for claims is now September 2026. And Oscar-winning actor Robert Duvall has died at the age of 95. His wife, Luciana, said that the star of The Godfather and Apocalypse Now passed away peacefully at home, surrounded by love. Over a career spanning 6 decades, Duvall earned 7 Academy Award nominations, winning Best Actor for Tender Mercies and becoming one of Hollywood's most respected performers. Unforgettable as Tom Hagen in The Godfather and for delivering that iconic line, "I love the smell of napalm in the morning." Those are the latest GB News headlines from me, but I'll be back in an hour. Now it's back to Patrick.
Tune in to GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player, on Nation Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Good evening. We start the show with some breaking news for you. GB News can tonight expose a plot to smuggle migrants into Britain via lorries from northern France. With unsettled weather leading to fewer small boat crossings, smugglers are doing all they can now to get migrants to Britain by lorry. Well, tonight we can reveal how smugglers have shared what appears to be the exact location that migrants meet to enter these lorries, which then cross into the UK. And we can also reveal, as you'll see on your screens right now, that it is just yards away from a police station in Dunkirk. So fantastic stuff there from the local authorities. Footage posted on a WhatsApp story obtained by GB News shows migrants in the back of a lorry speaking to camera in a clip that they've posted online after meeting at these locations. So it was posted over the weekend and it was followed by a screenshot of a precise location of where it appears that migrants can meet, and it is at the Dunkirk ferry terminal. The clip was posted by an account which frequently posts smuggler content on WhatsApp, an account that we've been monitoring for some time. The video focused on the pin location in northern France, which was placed on a map and then zoomed into Dover in Kent. Well, today, the WhatsApp account posted clips of dozens of migrants gathered in northern France. And separate clips also appear to show migrants sneaking onto lorries, pretending to be workmen at lorry parks. Now, footage posted on TikTok shows a man dressed in an all-orange high-vis jacket with yellow lines on it, sneaking into a lorry park. Yes, well, it was apparently taken in northern France. The Sudanese man also wears a face mask to further conceal identity and a green HUD. But that is a tactic that they're using, isn't it? Pretend to actually work at the lorry parks, use that to get onto the lorries. But his TikTok profile shows that he's worn the same clothes before when working at night, painting on a road with other people dressed in the same clothes. So the disguise obviously makes him look like a security guard, workman or engineer on the site. Yes, and his profile makes clear his intention to make it to Britain with the emoji flags there that you would have just seen on your screen of the Union Jack on the clip. Right, well, let's get the thoughts of my panel about all of this. We've got Daily Express columnist Carol Malone, journalist and broadcaster Benjamin Butterworth, and Reform UK party member, former chairman of the Tory party, Sir Jake Berry. Right, OK, well, look, I mean, obviously, you know, the small boats crossings, the weather's been a little bit ropey, so you've now got people there. The thing that annoys me about all of this stuff, Carol, apart from kind of all of it, is how easy it is to find this stuff online and how easy it would be to stop
if you can find it, with the greatest respect to you, if you can find it, why can't Border Force Security? Why can't the government? Why can't our security services? You find that, we've done it in a day. Will it make any difference? Will they start looking and monitoring these? I mean, if these guys are posting and showing off on WhatsApp and on TikTok, why isn't it being monitored? You know, the fact is this government will not tell the British tax-paying public how many people arrive on the backs of lorries. There are no figures available. Migration Watch produces figures, and they've estimated in the last 10 years between 70 and 100,000 people have come in the backs of lorries or containers. I think it was 2021 alone, there was something like 9,500 came. So this is kind of something, this is a wave of illegal immigration that we're not really thinking about. We're not talking about it very much. These people are coming in, we talk about the boats all the time, but there's almost as many coming in there as there is on the backs of the lorries. Why aren't they doing it? Why aren't they monitoring? You know, I read a stat today that said only between 10 and 13% of the lorry arrivals are detected by Border Force Security at the UK ports. The rest are found once they're in the country. So there's no proper monitoring of the lorries at all. There's a new Border Security Act passed in 2025 that now says that people will be fined, lorry drivers will be fined £10,000 per migrant, but that's never going to happen. We know it's not.
Well, it's clearly not going to happen, isn't it? Because it's a ridiculous idea to make lorry drivers liable for the fine. I actually know people who work in this industry. They cross the border, and you know, your average working man or woman who might be actually quite paid as a lorry driver, earning £50,000, £60,000 a year in some cases, they're not going to pay a £10,000 fine. So they get told, because they're personally liable, they get told by their employer, as soon as you get across the channel, if you don't get checked by Border Force on the way through, pull over, have a cup of tea, and let the migrants get off the lorry. That is happening every single day. And Carol's right, what's really concerning about this is there is no counting of people in on lorries. We know how many people, we know how many people are caught arriving on small boats. In fact, many more people come over and never get counted. There is at least an attempt to get an idea of how many people are coming. On lorries, there's not even an attempt by the government. And this really shows us the blatantness of this, is that there's nothing that the French government is going to do to stop this. And if we want this to stop, our government has to take 3 simple steps. As soon as people arrive in the UK, they have to be detained, deported and charged with a criminal offence. Otherwise, I almost forgot the 3 then. I only had 3 things to remember back to it. Anyway.
Two's enough, deported, detained.
You're probably sick of repeating
deported
it.
and charged.
I don't know if we might be able to bring up just the first thing that we showed there, which is the map, like the dropped pin location. I think we'll bring it up whilst we put this to Benjamin. Look, it frustrates the hell out of me, this stuff, because it's so easy to detect, it's so easy to find, and it's so easy to try to disrupt the people who are responsible. We've kind of shown it up previously with the small boat crossings, but, you know, there you go. I mean, you know, these people are literally just putting up their locations there. This is where you go and get it. We'll take you to Britain. I mean, come on. I mean, it's so offensive. Literally right next to a police station. You know, come on. It's ridiculous.
I mean, I suppose you have to hope that for the ones that you can find like that there are many more that have been removed and spotted and dealt with in the meantime. Well, you would hope it.
Well, it's not happening.
Whether it happens is a different question. I mean, this was the main problem of illegal immigration in the early to mid-2000s under a previous Labour government, and they managed to resolve it quite convincingly. So, you know, maybe...
By stopping counting.
Maybe the government should go back and look at those. But we also know that Brexit has meant that for a lot of these lorries coming in, the number of staff to the number of checks they have to do has made the workload a lot heavier, and that's going to make it much harder.
I thought one of the problems was that they were getting checked more now. Wasn't that one of the things that...
And actually, if Brexit's caused this, how come it was happening in the early 2000s?
And you know, we were supposed to be taking lessons from Denmark, weren't we, about how to deal with immigration? Do you know how many asylum claims they passed last year in the whole of 2025? 839. That's all in the whole of last year. And we were supposed to be following their lead. They've also deported scores of foreign criminals. Why aren't we doing that?
Well, we have.
We haven't.
Nearly 60,000 illegal immigrants have been taken out of the country since Labour came into power. That's much higher than it was before Labour came into power.
This is tosh.
So
you know, that's people who are wanting to leave.
Why do we have a system that it was literally revealed in the papers today where immigrants have been paid £500,000 compensation by British taxpayers for having their mobile phones confiscated? What I find amazing about these immigrants, they come across in the dinghies, they drop all their passports, they drop all their documents, they keep hold of their phone. If that's taken away, we pay them compensation. We actually have a government that is not serious about tackling this, and the only party that will be serious is if you have a reform government who will deal with this.
Because the Home Secretary's recent changes mean that those kind of things are now completely legal, and so that people's possessions, if they have any, can cover any costs of their incarceration.
But it's not legal. She's just talking about it. They haven't passed one law. Nothing has changed. This is the problem with the Labour government. They talk about doing things, but in fact, how many laws have they passed since she made that speech? Zero.
But even if they do pass laws, I'd be really interested to find out with this Border Security Act how many people, how many drivers they've prosecuted. I bet there's not a single one.
But it's not the poor old driver's fault. We shouldn't be prosecuting
yes, we should. Actually, if a driver knows he's got a migrant in the back of his lorry, and if he's got a special little container part where to put them, yes, he should be prosecuted.
And also,
I'm sorry.
The driver is going to know that vehicle better than anyone else.
Yes,
he's going to know where somebody could hide, or she's going to know where somebody
We should be paying the drivers a £10,000 bounty to hand them in when they get to the UK, detain, deport,
but then they'll let them board in the first
arrest, whatever it is. I only got three things to remember.
But I mean, I find it absolutely maddening, this. I mean, I have lost count of the amount of times that we have given the National Crime Agency, and I was wanting to cut them a little bit of slack initially, because the National Crime Agency deals with a huge amount of stuff. You know, they deal with smashing international paedophile rings and all sorts, so I get that they're very busy. But there are so many phone numbers that we've given them and TikTok accounts where we're like, right, this is a guy who's doing this, and then you check in with them 3 months later and the account is still open and it's still going. It's not a national. They're not treating it like a national emergency.
Isn't it ridiculous? One of this government's ways of stopping the boats was to open a government TikTok account so they could show the smugglers them arresting and detaining people. Like, that's going to have them quaking in the boats.
What they should do? Can we bring up the TikTok of the bloke in that snazzy kind of bright orange, what would you call it, lorry park suit or whatever that we've got? Because maybe what the government should do, because now they've launched on TikTok trying to deter people like our chap from Sudan here from getting on, they could show him them being arrested. Using AI or something, you know, but I think it'll come up eventually here. But yeah, I mean, they are literally dressing as lorry park workers now.
And waving as they're getting on.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Nice.
I'm on my way to Britain.
Yeah, here he comes.
Yeah, lovely.
Fantastic. I mean, not even trying to... I mean, they've gone for the opposite of trying to camouflage. They've gone, right, I'm going to go in neon orange.
You can tell there's no worry there. You'd think a lot of people kind of coming to a new country and smuggling themselves in would be a bit nervous. Happy as a sandboy, because he knows nothing's going to stop him there. And once he gets here, woof, straight to a 4-star hotel. Lovely.
Yeah, Jake, what do you make of that, the lorry park issue there that we've got?
Well, you know, it's clear it's a new route that's being exploited, isn't it? Patrick, stop it. You're making me laugh.
Sorry.
I'm making so many things. It's a new route. It's being exploited. We're not counting it in. And actually, it just makes a lie of everything the Home Secretary and the Prime Minister have tried to pull the wool over the British people's eyes. We know when they're not taking this seriously. This is a national emergency. We are being invaded. We've got to get our country back.
All right, OK.
What are you laughing at?
No, nothing.
Are you laughing at me?
No, I'm not laughing at you. I am not laughing at you.
What are you laughing at?
No. There was something in that clip there that I've only just realised. But anyway, we'll talk about it in the break. A National Crime Agency spokesperson has said organised crime groups involved in people smuggling risk the safety of those they transport and also threaten the border security both the UK and France. Tackling organised immigration crime remains a top priority for the NCA, and we have around 100 ongoing investigations into networks.
100? Wow.
Yeah. We could do that in a day. Individuals in the top tier of this type of criminality. Anyway, the Home Office spokesperson has said this. Are you ready for this? GB News have not provided any evidence that the individual in the video successfully entered the UK. Evidence of people smuggling should be reported to immigration enforcement immediately. We are toughening laws and strengthening work with our French partners to shut down smuggling routes, including through lorries and small boats. We are also stripping away the incentives pulling people to the UK unlawfully and making it far easier to remove or deport anyone entering the country illegally.
Well, they could do with a grammar lesson, because it's GB News has, not GB
Yes,
News have.
exactly.
Wow.
Start.
Yes.
Well, there you go.
That's their first problem.
They've lost Benjamin Butterworth. It really is even worse than
They'll be devastated.
It's worse than we thought. Right, OK. Now, look, we've got loads coming your way, but I do want to tell you about the latest Great British giveaway. And I believe here to do so is Hayley Sparks.
You could win cash and the ultimate holiday in our two-part Great British giveaway. Thanks to Riviera Travel, you could be jetting off on a £10,000 dream holiday for two people. With flights, transfers and luxury accommodation included, you'll get to choose the kind of holiday you want. So whether you're looking for hotel comfort or on a relaxing river cruise, you'll be able to find the perfect match from over 30 global destinations on offer. And because the holiday is handpicked with you in mind, you know it's going to be perfect. Plus, we're going to give you £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. Your summer can start here, so make sure you don't miss out.
For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB19, PO Box 8690, Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 27th of February. The winner may be contacted live after all entry routes have closed. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
All right, well, coming up at 10 p.m.
They've caved, they've collapsed. It's a victory for reform, but more importantly, it's a victory for democracy in this country. We are delighted.
Well, it's probably the biggest U-turn yet. The Prime Minister's been forced to reinstate local elections after reform threatened legal action. Big victory, I think, for Farage. Of course, more humiliation for Starmer. But before that, should anyone that pulls out a knife in public expect to be shot by the police? There's a reason why I'm asking that question, and I'll reveal all next.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight. So, should anyone that pulls out a knife in public expect to be shot by the police? It's time for that to head. Well, if you pull out a knife, you should expect to be shot. That is the conclusion of a Scottish police union boss who thinks that officers need better protection from knife attackers. Speaking to the Daily Telegraph, David Kennedy, General Secretary of the Scottish Police Federation, said, "There seems to be a culture of more knives. I believe that anybody willing to be caught with a machete in public should be mindful of the fact that it will be a firearms team that deals with them." Currently, British police officers are routinely unarmed, with only a small number of specialist firearms officers allowed to carry guns. And although murder rates might have fallen, knife crime in London is higher than pre-pandemic levels. But apparently, this is just all part of normal life now.
The idea that you're going to be at greater risk in Tower Hamlets because there's lots of Muslims there than you might be. Let's say you go into a bar in Bury St Edmunds full of, guys who may not necessarily be used to looking to seeing someone like you. Are you really saying you'd be at less of a risk there than you would be in Tower Hamlets? On what basis?
Well, I've been stabbed twice in London. That's the basis. There you go.
It's a big city.
So...
Sadly, that happens sometimes.
Oh my gosh, honestly, ridiculous. Sorry that you were... He didn't even say sorry, did he? He didn't even say sorry. Tonight I'm asking, should anyone that pulls out a knife in public expect to be shot by police? Going ahead, telling this now, former specialist firearms officer and instructor Tony Long and former Detective Chief Inspector Dave McKelvey. Thank you very much. Great to see you both. Tony, I'll start with you. Should people get shot for pulling out a knife in public?
Well, many people would say yes, and and good riddance to them, sort of thing. But the reality is that you can't simply shoot someone because they've got a knife. I don't know whether this Federation rep from Scotland has been taken out of context. I know a lot of what he's talking about is arming more police officers so that firearms are more readily available. But the reality is that you have to be in fear of your own life or serious harm, or fear of someone else coming to serious harm before you can open fire. So you can't simply shoot someone because they're having a gun. It's a very simplistic and rather stupid thing to say.
OK, all right. Dave, your views?
Yeah, I mean, I do agree to a certain extent, but I think it's got to be said that if you go out on the streets of London or any other city or anywhere in the UK with a gun or a knife, you should be very aware that if police turn up, you are likely to get shot dead or shot. And that's the message that should go out. If you want to carry a knife or a gun on the streets, there's a bloody good chance that when police turn up, you're going to get shot. And that's the reality of it.
Yeah, I mean, that clip, by the way, I think is just absolutely iconic. I don't know whether or not the bloke realised how utterly ridiculous he sounded there, but that is so annoying, though. Aside from the fact that what he said is ridiculous, it is so annoying. We had the old thing from Sadiq Khan, I think, back in the day, wasn't it? Terror attacks are part and parcel of living in a big city. And now it's like, if you go out, you get stabbed once or twice. Well, you're living in a big city, aren't you? I don't know how you feel about that, Tony, really. Should we be accepting that this is just something... If you go out in London, you might just get stabbed?
Well, of course not. I mean, it's a ridiculous thing to say. Like I said, I think the reason I came on was because I was asked about the comment that the Federation rep made. I think if he's talking about arming the police and having more armed police more readily available to deal with suspects that have knives, that's a much bigger discussion.
Would you? I'll sit with you then, Tony, on this. Would you be happy to arm more police or not? Do you think?
I think we're in a perfect storm at the moment, because from a completely moral standpoint, I think it says a lot about a society that's prepared to pay men and women to go out on the street and come up against people with knives and guns to defend the public. But then we as a society don't give them the equipment to protect themselves and to protect us. Yeah. And then when they do use the equipment, we drag them over the coals for it. So I think that's one of the big issues, is that if you did want to arm more officers, because of the way that firearms officers get treated now, I think that very few officers would either want to take up the offer or would actually be prepared to use that level of force.
Yeah, Dave, I'll bring you in on this then. I mean, so would you be up for more armed police? And I think there is a point there, isn't there, that Tony's making, which is that if they did see someone whacking out a machete and going to use it in anger and they shot them, the way that the law seems to be in this country at the moment is that the police officer will probably get done for murder.
That's very true. That's absolutely true. And, you know, you've only got to look in recent history. You had the Hainault incident with the sword where a WPC nearly lost their hand, and those officers could have easily ended up, you know, dead. You had the situation in Leighton very recently, or a few years back, where the PC was attacked with a machete. Fortunately, he had a taser, and fortunately, it worked. The reality is, you're putting, you know, young police officers up against armed suspects with a baton, a piece of metal or a taser, and sometimes those tasers don't work. You know, and you've got to get it out. You've got to fire it. The reality is, you cannot expect police officers to go out in the streets and police if you don't give them the equipment to use to protect themselves. If not, they're not going to protect you.
Can I just say, from a policy point of view, if you had an armed police officer and for whatever reason he was on his own and he was armed, as he would be, with not just a pistol but a taser, and he was confronted by someone with a knife, he is not going to be drawing his taser. He's going to be drawing his pistol as a matter of policy, because the reality is, unless you've got someone backing you up, you can't afford to use a less lethal weapon against somebody that's armed with a knife, because, as Dave quite rightly said, they don't always work.
Yeah.
So, you know, you need someone with a firearm to back that taser up, really and truly.
What I would say, Patrick, during my career, I was stabbed 4 times. You know,
it's all part and parcel of living in a big city, Dave. It's all part of it. It all happens, mate. It happens, you know.
Exactly. It just, you know, these things happen. Yeah. But, the reality is, you know, you don't get a chance to pull your stick out in those days with a piece of balsa wood. You end up in a full-on fight, you know, to the death, effectively. And that's the situation. You know, you've got to, unless people have been in that situation, they do not understand, they do not realise the level of violence that's used and the risks that are taken day in, day out by police officers.
Absolutely. Well, look, thank you very, very much for both of you for coming on. I would also just like to say genuinely thank you very much for everything you do and have done as well, you know, kind of, keeping us all safe as well, and being prepared to get hurt in the line of duty as well. I don't think police officers all the time get enough credit, do they? But thank you very much. There's Tony Long there, who is former Specialist Firearms Officer and Instructor, and former Detective Chief Inspector Dave McKelvey. Well, I'm keen to know what you think about that, really. I mean, I think it's a question of deterrent, isn't there? If you're going to walk around bold as brass with a knife, you're probably not even going to go to prison, get caught carrying one. You know, would the fear of getting shot actually stop you from doing that? But anyway, coming up at 10 p.m.
Caved, they've collapsed. It's a victory for reform, but more importantly, it's a victory for democracy in this country. We are delighted.
Well, it's another absolute whopper of a U-turn. Sir Keir Starmer has been forced to reinstate local elections after reform threatened legal action. Remarkable, really, isn't it? He'll go down in history as the man that tried to, against the law, it would seem anyway, not let us vote. But before that...
The death threats have been targeted towards me, especially on my social media pages.
Birmingham.
I receive the threats from areas like Birmingham and London. They sent me messages saying they'll find me where I am and they'll cut my throat. That is the truth of Islam.
Well, President Trump is considering granting the man that burned a Koran outside the Turkish embassy in London refugee status in America. So are our blasphemy laws now making us an international laughingstock? That's next.
Be nice to escape the grey.
Clear skies, here we come.
As clear as our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there, and welcome to your winter sun forecast from the Met Office. If you're looking to head towards the Mediterranean over the next few days, it will be sunny in places, but there is still some persistent rain at times. The Canaries do have the best of the sunshine, but Portugal and northern Spain do cling on to a lot of this rain. Italy at the moment does see a lot of that sunshine, but out towards Greece and Turkey, we do have this persistent rain with some thunderstorms in the mix as well. Temperatures-wise, especially across Tenerife, we will see those temperatures get up towards those low.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hi there and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. During the next 24 hours, showers will clear, but they'll leave in their wake icy patches for northern and eastern parts of the UK, where it'll also be windy. With that wind coming from the north, it's bringing cold air. So once showers move through, there will be some tricky conditions first thing Tuesday. Slippery surfaces out there on roads and pavements. Having said that, we'll also see some sleet and snow showers across north of Scotland into the east and southeast of Scotland and eastern England overnight. Mostly any snow accumulations over hills, but patchy small amounts at lower levels, and the main hazard, of course, first thing Tuesday will be ice, because it's going to be a cold start out there, but a bright start for many, having seen the showers clear earlier in the night and widespread clear skies develop. Blue skies are expected first thing across many parts of the UK, especially central parts of England into Wales, Northern Ireland, central and western Scotland, cloud-free skies, but a chill in the air. Then we've got further sleet and snow showers coming into the northeast of Scotland, but these are easing through the day. Eastern England, a blustery start with some very strong winds first thing. They tend to moderate by the time we get to the afternoon, and then for many it's just a dry and bright day. But it will turn cloudy towards the southwest later on. 7 Celsius here, 4 or 5 further north and east. When you factor in the strong wind, it's going to feel more like 0 or 1 degree. Now, the cloudier skies in the southwest will bring an area of rain in overnight, and that's going to spill into Northern Ireland, parts of South Wales and the southern part of England by Wednesday afternoon. Some heavy rain eventually, and that's going to turn to snow over the hills in the south, I think, on Wednesday night into Thursday. Thursday turns drier with plenty of sunshine for many.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight. Now, reports tonight suggest that the White House is reportedly considering granting refugee status to a man called Hamit Coşkun. Now, you may well remember Hamit Coşkun. He is the asylum seeker who burned a copy of the Quran outside the Turkish consulate in London last year. Mr. Coşkun's original conviction for a religiously aggravated public order offence was overturned on appeal. But the Crown Prosecution Service is now seeking to reinstate the charges. Now, if that appeal is successful, the United States officials say that Coşkun may be allowed to flee to the United States for safety. We're joined again by our panel here on this. So, I don't like the idea that we essentially have blasphemy laws. I also can't help but think, why is any of this our problem, Jake? You know, we've got a bloke from Armenia here, I believe, who is seeking refugee status, who burns a copy of the Quran outside the Turkish embassy. A bloke with a knife comes out and tries to stab him for it. And why is this our problem?
Well, I think, first of all, the real question I'd ask myself is, why on earth is the Crown Prosecution Service using taxpayers' money to pursue this man further? You're right, we don't have blasphemy laws in this country, and however distasteful we may find that particular form of protest, it was not, in my opinion, a criminal offence, and he's been tried now twice for this. Once he was found guilty, the next time the conviction was quashed. Why on earth are we trying him a third time? And I think really for the United Kingdom, whether it's our problem or not, it's important enough for Donald Trump and his regime to look at this and say they have such concerns about free speech here in the United Kingdom that they will offer someone asylum from the UK because they think they are being persecuted for a protest here in this country. Look, whether it's our problem or not, it's something we should all be deeply worried about.
Yeah, I mean, personally, the thing that I'm really worried about is that a bloke inside the Turkish embassy saw someone burning a Quran.
Came out with a knife.
And their first reaction was to grab a knife and maybe want to kill him for it.
I don't think they were let off with it.
Well, clearly that's unacceptable and it is distasteful to...
Got a suspended sentence,
to burn a religious book.
Obviously.
But it shouldn't be illegal. Look, I can well imagine that this man faces serious threats and danger after this and his identity being known from living in London or anywhere in the UK. I can imagine that's the case. But the idea that the US should be offering refuge to him, I think, is complete nonsense and completely wrong.
He won't be protected in this country. We'll offer him no kind of protection.
I'm afraid that there'd be the same sort of people in many cities in the US as you would find in many cities in the UK for a start. Well, some Islamists that would have an agenda against a person who's done this. And actually, it's our responsibility. I think the US is insulting Britain by doing this. It's insulting our freedom, insulting our sovereignty, and they have no right to do this when they're turning away people that are fleeing wars.
They have every right to do this. This guy is in danger in this country. We know what happens at the hands of Islamists when they're upset with you. This guy was on your programme, was he not? Did you not get threats afterwards for interviewing him?
Actually, that's true. I've lost count of the amount of death threats that I've had.
Okay,
it's all from
obviously
some incredible peace-loving people out there.
But straight after that, you got threats for just having this guy on the show. So that's the strength of feeling about him. He will be terrified to walk the streets of this country, and you can guarantee that our security services will not protect him. Why shouldn't?
No, you can't guarantee that at all.
Yes, we can.
We have exceptional security services. That's why, thank goodness, we don't have terrorist attacks all the time, because they protect people. It's our responsibility. And actually, the US, which has an appalling record on free speech under Donald Trump, that is going after media outlets, going after people that don't show his politics all the time, he should focus on that.
The US is making a point. They're making a point about what they think about is happening to free speech in this country. And it's a very good point to make, because it is being eroded under this government. There is no question about it. People are scared to speak out.
I think the question is this, isn't this again two-tier justice? Because if you think about it, if someone had set fire to the Bible, lots of people would find deeply offensive. Would they be facing their third trial?
No, they would
not. The state is so desperate, on the face of it appears, to get their man. They are trying him for a third time. And I think that's more to do with this Labour government's panic about it, block votes in marginal seats around the country, than it is about the rights or wrongs of this specific
they
case.
live in fear. So many institutions of the British state live in total fear of radical Islamism because they don't want to be the ones who get beheaded in the street. Right? They don't. That's what they. So I have to investigate this. We really need to try to prosecute this guy. Do you not understand who it is you're actually appeasing here and pandering to? It's absolutely pathetic. But I'm joined now by journalist and broadcaster Emma Trimble, who's down the line for us. Emma, thank you very much. Sorry, we struggled to get you there for a while. Thank you very much for popping up for us. Just on this, what do you make of the fact that this guy now could well get asylum in America?
Well, there are two aspects of this. I think the first is that this massively shames our country. Free speech has become a huge diplomatic issue. Thank God for the United States offering refuge to people like Koskan. But the other aspect of this is just how completely deranged it is that the Crown Prosecution Service is continuing to pursue this man and seems to be absolutely determined to see the introduction of a blasphemy law, because that's what this would effectively be. It's what Toby Young has called a stabber's veto, because if you're seen to be doing something that's blasphemous, if somebody gets so offended that they come and violently attack you, which is what happened to Koskan, even though the man who attacked him got a suspended sentence, that you are introducing this stabber's veto. I mean, this is worse than just a threat to freedom of speech. This is the imposition of Islamic sensitivities around blasphemy on non-Muslims, on the British population at large. It's frankly dangerous, and thank God for the United States stepping in and defending our freedom of speech.
Yeah, so, I mean, basically, if the Crown Prosecution Service goes ahead with this, that would mean, would it set the precedent that if somebody who happened to be Muslim was so offended about something and they thought it was blasphemous, that basically they were within their rights to pull out a knife and behave however they want as a result of that?
Well, in this case, it would be the British state effectively aiding and abetting violence against people who commit acts of blasphemy, according to Islam, which of course we know Islam is particularly sensitive about things like even showing the picture of the Prophet Muhammad. As we know, there is still a teacher who is in hiding, the teacher from Batley, who had to flee for his life as well. We've also just seen this other recent case of a man who converted to Christianity from Islam, who had to leave and go to the United States because Britain couldn't keep him safe. I mean, this is a really dire situation. And like I say, it's the stabber's veto. It's taken as evidence that a crime has been committed on the part of the person who has been offensive, because somebody has been so offended that they couldn't control themselves and just simply had to attack the person who committed blasphemy. And this man was protesting against the Islamization of Turkey. He was well within his rights to do and say what he did. And I think it's terrifying that the Crown Prosecution Service is pursuing him and trying to overturn the fact that his conviction was already quashed.
All right, Emma, thank you very, very much. Always a pleasure. It's Emma Trimble there, who is journalist and broadcaster. A little bit later on in the show, by the way, we're having a look at... You'll never guess what's going on with the new Islamophobia definition and some of the people who might be behind it. I mean, it's that... Oh, something that no one could have seen coming, but coming up at 10 p.m.
Cave, they've collapsed. It's a victory for reform, but more importantly, it's a victory for democracy in this country. We are delighted.
Well, it's another U-turn, and it was just ridiculous, basically. I mean, for a human rights lawyer, it looks like Keir Starmer isn't very good at the law, actually. But before that...
Free Palestine. Free Palestine, Matt Lucas.
That's Little Britain star Matt Lucas there, hounded by pro-Palestine activists in a London station. Are Jews really safe in Britain? It's the latest in a long line of stuff that Palestine Brigade have done, even just this weekend. That's next.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, this is Jubes & Co with you.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christys here to GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates,
lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight. Now, this was the moment that Little Britain star Matt Lucas was accosted and followed by a pro-Palestine activist while he was just minding his own business at a tube station. Watch.
Free Palestine. Free Palestine, Matt Lucas. Free Palestine.
Hi, how are you?
You don't like the suit that I'm wearing, do you?
Sorry?
You don't like what I'm wearing?
No, I have no comment about it either way.
Palestinians. You've got a problem with Palestinians, man?
No.
Please, you can't do that. You can't grab my stuff.
These people are completely and utterly deranged. Now, although he was raised in a Jewish household, Lucas has previously described himself as an atheist and a fairly secular Jew in the past. It's just people harassing people like Matt Lucas in the streets. I'm joined now by the journalist Nicole Lampert. Now, Nicole, there's another story I want to get with you in a second as well. But just on the Matt Lucas thing, yeah, the guy coming up, is just all they've got is a slogan, isn't it? Oh, free Palestine. No, free Palestine. What are you supposed to say to us? Like, stop being weird.
I mean, I would use quite a few four-letter words if it was me, but I think Matt Lucas was very polite. It was quite interesting listening to your whole free speech debate earlier, because this is the other side of the coin, isn't it? That we have people under the guise of pro-Palestinianism calling for the death of Jews, Zionists off our campus, and freely attacking Jews, even on universities where there's also the touchy-feely trigger warnings for Shakespeare. So there is free speech for anyone who wants to attack Jews, and we have seen what that's led to. We've seen attacks. We've seen 2 people being killed. We've seen other people talking about it, and we certainly see a lot of this, not only on university campuses and places like that, but in mosques, and for years. And this is dangerous and scary.
Yeah, it is. Of course it is. But now it's escalated even more because we've got people going door to door, haven't we? And this is... Last week I did a report on one from, it was Brighton, wasn't it, I think, or Bristol. And now this, I think, is
happening in both places.
Both, of course it is. Absolutely, yeah. And now this is Sheffield, I believe. Here it is.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, look at...
But you're knocking on doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Asking people to show their support for Palestine.
And if they don't?
We just go away and say
you go
sorry.
away. Do you take a note of the door?
No. Well, we're taking note of doors that we've knocked on, but we don't put anything down.
I see. So you're taking a note of doors you've knocked on.
Only so
and
that
the
we
ones you don't
again.
do it again, what kind of answers would they give that you don't knock on their door again?
Yes, I must say, I do think we're being far too generous with these people by blurring their faces. But anyway, there we go. So, yeah, what do you make of that? Is people going door to door asking people's views on Israel?
This is growing. The wonderful Jean Hatchett, whose voice you can hear there, and she was on GB News last night. You know, we need more people like that who aren't Jewish people, but just to stand up and say, this is wrong, we don't accept this. Because what they're doing is they're going around from door to door saying, will you boycott Israeli goods? And they write down your name and where you live. So that is very frightening. And we don't know what it will lead to, but all I know is that, you know, as you mentioned, Bristol, Brighton, Sheffield, it's now happening up the road from me in a very Jewish area in Hackney, and it's going to grow and grow. And actually, it's being really pushed by the Greens. They are involved in this. And it's worth just saying that the war in Gaza ended about 4 or 5 months ago now. There's been a ceasefire, it's shaky, and it may end, but at the moment it's holding. But still, they are obsessed with this issue. And in fact, for the Greens, they're using it as a kind of political weapon. They're asking people to vote to give a vote for Palestine. That's how they're using this. This is basically it's Jew hate with a cloak of being kind and being a good person. But that's what it is. It's just out and out Jew hate, and you could see that particularly with Matt Lucas, who's never stood up for Israel or said anything about anti-Semitism. Really.
And I actually thought we handled it. I thought we handled it very well, right? I mean, you know, it's not easy. I do know a thing or two about this. It's not easy when people do just come up and slap a phone in your face and start shouting about one of the most controversial topics the world's ever seen. We thought we made the guy look absolutely ridiculous when the guy was like, "Oh, you don't like what I'm wearing, do you?" Because presumably he had some kind of keffiyeh on. I'm like, I don't care. Anyway, there we go. Look, thank you very, very much. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I hope to see you again very, very soon. Good luck with everything. Right, so when we come back, we're going to be talking about this.
Cave, they've collapsed. It's a victory for reform, but more importantly, it's a victory for democracy in this country. We are delighted.
Massive U-turn, we're going to get elections, and the Free Speech Union has done a report which appears to link people behind the Islamophobia definition, well, with Islamists. That's next.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hi there and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. During the next 24 hours, showers will clear, but they'll leave in their wake icy patches for northern and eastern parts of the UK, where it'll also be windy. With that wind coming from the north, it's bringing cold air. So once showers move through, there will be some tricky conditions first thing Tuesday. Slippery surfaces out there on roads and pavements. Having said that, we'll also see some sleet and snow showers across north of Scotland into the east and southeast of Scotland and eastern England overnight. Mostly any snow accumulations over hills, but patchy small amounts at lower levels, and the main hazard, of course, first thing Tuesday will be ice, because it's going to be a cold start out there, but a bright start for many, having seen the showers clear earlier in the night and widespread clear skies develop. Blue skies are expected first thing across many parts of the UK, especially central parts of England into Wales, Northern Ireland, central and western Scotland, cloud-free skies, but a chill in the air. Then we've got further sleet and snow showers coming into the northeast of Scotland, but these are easing through the day. Eastern England, a blustery start with some very strong winds first thing. They tend to moderate by the time we get to the afternoon, and then for many it's just a dry and bright day. But it will turn cloudy towards the southwest later on. 7 Celsius here, 4 or 5 further north and east. When you factor in the strong wind, it's going to feel more like 0 or 1 degree. Now, the cloudier skies in the southwest will bring an area of rain in overnight, and that's going to spill into Northern Ireland, parts of South Wales and the southern part of England by Wednesday afternoon. Some heavy rain eventually, and that's going to turn to snow over the hills in the south, I think, on Wednesday night into Thursday. Thursday turns drier with plenty of sunshine for many.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
There's only 2 weeks remaining to see how you could win a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash. Plus, we could be sorting out your summer with an incredible holiday for two worth £10,000, courtesy of Riviera Travel. You'll get to choose from 47 tours in over 30 worldwide destinations. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB19 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 27th of February. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
It's 10 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight,
They've caved, they've collapsed. It's a victory for reform, but more importantly, it's a victory for democracy in this country. We are delighted.
democracy 1, Starmer's dictatorship 0. Starmer U-turns on local elections. And that news that makes the front of pretty much every single one of tomorrow's newspaper front pages. Another set of grim headlines for the Prime Minister. Anger as PM abandons plans to delay the May elections. I mean, he's lost The Guardian now. Can it get any worse? I'll have all of those front pages for you very shortly. Plus, we've smashed another illegal migrant gang that the authorities will do absolutely nothing about. They're posing as lorry park workers to break into Britain. I suppose it makes a change from posing as doctors and engineers, doesn't it? And a Free Speech Union report claims that the people involved in the Islamophobia definition, now wait, you're not going to believe this, have alleged links to Islamist organisations. Well, who could have seen that coming? Plus, breaking news in the past hour. A shooting at a Rhode Island ice rink has left, we believe, 2 people very sadly dead. I'll bring you all of the very latest on that. Some really dramatic footage coming out there of Rhode Island, an ongoing breaking situation in America. On my panel tonight, we've got the Daily Express columnist Carol Malone, journalist Benjamin Butterworth and former Tory party chairman, now Reform UK member Sir Jake Berry. And aliens are real.
Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in what is it?
Area 51.
Area 51.
I feel like that's quite big news. Anyway, get ready, Britain, here we go. Sir Keir Starmer's just done his 15th U-turn. Next.
Very good evening. It's just gone 10 o'clock. These are your latest headlines. The government has abandoned plans to delay local elections in 30 council areas after receiving fresh legal advice warning that the move would be unlawful. Labour had proposed cancelling votes affecting more than 4.5 million people to create capacity for a major restructuring of English local government. Reform UK leader Nigel Farage spoke to GB News earlier and praised the announcement after originally plotting legal action.
The government obviously knew they were going to lose. The boss of the Electoral Commission said what they'd done was illegal. Clearly, the government's own lawyers believed they'd acted illegally, and so they caved in, and 4.6 million people, or should I say 4.6 million council taxpayers, because that to me is the key point, will now get the vote. So yes, it's a legal victory, it's a victory for our party, but above all, it's a victory for freedom and democracy.
Meanwhile, Sir Keir Starmer says that Britain must go faster on defence spending, warning that the threat from Russia is real and growing. The Prime Minister is considering bringing forward plans to spend more on the military, with the current target of 2.5% of GDP by 2027 and 3% later now potentially being met sooner. The UK currently spends around 2.3% of national income on defence. Officials say that rising costs and global tensions are driving the rethink, though no final decision has been taken and the Treasury remains cautious, with the move potentially costing billions more each year. Elsewhere, more than 170,000 current and former students are taking legal action against dozens of universities, claiming they didn't get the education that they paid for during the pandemic. Legal letters have now been sent to a further 36 institutions after a settlement between University College London and the student claimants. The cases centre on tuition fees paid for in-person teaching that was delivered online instead during lockdown. Lawyers say that students missed out on facilities, campus life and key learning experiences, calling it one of the greatest injustices of the pandemic. And breaking this evening, Oscar-winning actor Robert Duvall has died at the age of 95. His wife, Luciana, said that the star of The Godfather and Apocalypse Now passed away peacefully at home, surrounded by love. Over a career spanning 6 decades, Duvall earned 7 Academy Award nominations, winning Best Actor for Tender Mercies, and soon becoming one of Hollywood's most respected performers. Those are the latest GB News headlines. More from me in an hour, but now it's back to Patrick.
Take the GB News family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.
Democracy 1, Sir Keir Starmer's dictatorship 0. Starmer has U-turned. We are going to have local elections after all. This morning, Sir Keir Starmer told BBC Radio 2 that the U-turns that he does all the time are because, are you ready for this? He's a common sense merchant.
And I'm a big pragmatist. I'm a common sense merchant.
I'm a common sense merchant. And then 2 hours later, he did his 15th U-turn. Reform threatened legal action. They didn't even have to go to court, and they still won. They said it was illegal to cancel the local elections in about 30 different areas. And it turns out that the advice that the government had was clearly that it would have been illegal. So they just decided to U-turn on it. And that, of course, brings us to these 15 U-turns. So drum roll, please, everybody. We have got the digital ID cards U-turn. There we go. So they're going to do it, then they're not going to do it. Business rates for pubs, that's going to U-turn on that as well, you know, probably because they were banned from a load of boozers. The inheritance tax on farmers, they've U-turned on that partially. Unfortunately, it was far too late for some of the farmers who literally killed themselves because of the decision they made there. The two-child benefit cap, so they weren't going to do it, then they did do it, and then, of course, you know, it's going to disproportionately impact people who are of Pakistani, Nigerian and Bangladeshi heritage, so that's great, fantastic. Income tax thresholds, they've U-turned on that as well. Workers' day one rights, magnificent. So, you know, you get a job and then on day one you decide to sue your employer and Labour's your best friend there. Waspy women's compensation, that you turned on that. They all held placards, didn't they, before the last election? Yvette Cooper even went up north and put on a Yorkshire accent and said to everyone that she was going to help do right by waspy women. And then it turns out that actually she didn't mean that at all, did she? So the U-turn on that. Welfare and disability benefit cuts. Do you remember when Rachel Reeves cried? Yeah, it was over that, wasn't it? Because there was that rebellion. Well, there was going to be a rebellion, so they didn't end up doing it. So now we just all have to pay more tax. Grooming gangs, national inquiry, far-right bandwagon, wasn't it? Oh, no, you're all jumping a far-right bandwagon. All right, let's do it, but let's water it down so that we don't really focus on the aspect of Pakistanis being some of the rapists there. Winter fuel payments. Yeah, brilliant. The view turned on that. Trans rights definitions. Remarkable, isn't it? That, you know, I think, what is it? David Lammy thought you could just grow a cervix. Keir Starmer getting all hot and bothered about what a woman is, and then, you know, then they had the Supreme Court guidance, but they've not done anything with it. The national insurance issue, yeah, of course, they were going to raise that. Measurement for national debt as well, they've U-turned on that. And finally, of course, today's U-turn, delayed elections across 30 local authorities. Done a UE on that. So, brilliant. Right, I mean, there's more than that. I'm sure there's more than that. Anyway, people fought and died for our right to have democracy in this country. But that doesn't seem to matter to Labour. And then today, Steve Reed, Secretary of State for Housing, Communities and Local Government, said, following legal advice, the government has withdrawn its original decision to postpone 30 local elections in May. Right, I mean, this is just straightforwardly a resigning matter. Can you even imagine doing something this farcical? Here is Steve Reed now on the BBC's Would I Lie to You show. As a government minister, I once illegally tried to cancel a load of council elections. There you go. Yeah, no one would believe it, would they? I think that bloke is a moron. What is the point of Steve Reed? Part of his job is housing. He's got no idea how many homes he's built.
No. How many new homes have been built since Labour took power?
I don't have the exact. I'm not Wikipedia.
You don't have...
No, I'm not Wikipedia.
No,
I'm here to talk to you about
secretary.
policy. No, that doesn't mean I know every single statistic going on in the entire housing sector.
You don't know how
you
many
only know
homes...
it because it's written in front of you.
Well, but I'm not
tell
in
me what it
charge
is,
of
and we can
housing.
Literally the day before, he'd put a big red hat on and walked around saying, build, baby, build, and he was throwing them around the place as well. Oh, yeah, absolutely pathetic. He was the Minister for Rural Affairs when Labour introduced the farmer's death tax, and now he's responsible for the government's most humiliating U-turn yet. If he was a comic book character, he'd be Captain Useless, wouldn't he? For a government of human rights lawyers, this Labour government isn't very good at the law, is it? Here's Nigel Farage celebrating the victory today.
Last year we saw cancellations of elections without any real exceptional reason. This year, up to 30 councils, 4.6 million people denied the vote. In some cases, Norfolk, Suffolk, East and West Sussex, this would have been the second year in a row that people who are paying their council tax would have been denied the chance to vote. So that's why we took them to the High Court. We were due there this Thursday. They've caved, they've collapsed. It's a victory for reform, but more importantly, it's a victory for democracy in this country. We are delighted.
Well, there we go. The good thing is that this will probably hasten the end of Sir Keir Starmer. He is despised, and every single leaflet from opposition parties that will land on people's doormats at this variety of different local elections we're going to have will say Keir Starmer didn't want to let you vote. And he will go down in history as the bloke who tried to block democracy. Let's go thoughts my panel. Got Daily Express columnist Carol Malone, journalist and broadcaster Benjamin Butterworth, and Reform UK Sir Jake Berry. So, Carol, we are now getting elections. I mean, remarkably, the government's own legal advice would have been, we will lose this in court, which reading between the lines means we would have illegally tried to stifle democracy in Britain. Fantastic.
You think it's a question that the Prime Minister, who was a lawyer and was in charge of the CPS, might have asked when this first was mooted weeks and weeks ago. You think it's a question that Lord Herner might have addressed when this was first introduced weeks and weeks ago, but no. Starmer's the man who says, you know, he's always saying in Parliament, I will not be lectured on the law. Well, maybe he should be, because it was clear, it was as clear as day this was going to be illegal. You know, but what I think about Farage then, I think the Reform are going to get more votes than they were going to get ordinarily. You know, he's the only party leader that took action on this. He launched this legal action in the High Court. It was due to be heard on Thursday. Every other party leader in this country said it was disgraceful, it was an assault on democracy, and nobody did anything. And the point is, those elections would have stayed cancelled had it not been for Nigel Farage, and that's a fact. And I think that's going to get him a lot more votes come May, and I think Starmer's going to lose a lot more. This was an assault on democracy, but the idea, he thought he could chance it and get away with it.
Well, the criticism that Labour likes to wheel out to Nigel Farage and reformers, he idolises Putin, doesn't he? Which, by the way, is a ridiculous thing to say. And
it's completely untrue as well.
It's a bit of a mischaracterisation about what was said there. But anyway, well, actually, they've basically been caught out, essentially, illegally trying to ban elections.
So what do dictators do? They stifle the freedom of the press and cancel elections. Well, hello, Keir Starmer. Look, what's extraordinary about this, and they're actually just picking on something Carol said, the reason Kemi Badenoch and the leader of the Liberal Democrats, Ed Davey, and Keir Starmer have been quieter about this is because their council leaders, despite the crocodile tears from Kemi and Ed Davey in Parliament, their council leaders have been going along with this because Turkeys never vote for Christmas. They certainly don't vote for Christmas to come a year early in their mind. And, you know, this has been an outrage that the government has gone along with these weak council leaders who've wanted to run away from democracy and illegally tried to cancel these elections. And let's be clear about why the government's given it away on this, is the government today was due to deliver its defence for the Reform Judicial Review to court. They obviously realised they had no defence to this illegal act. And then they just decided to give way. And what I'm really looking forward to in May is, funnily enough, Kemi Badenoch said, Nigel Farage has helped me with my spring cleaning. Well, I think come the 8th of May, she might find that Nigel Farage and Reformers done a bit of spring cleaning of all those Conservative and Labour councillors out of office. We can't wait. Let's let the electorate get going. Let's get rid of these rotten councillors.
Right, OK. Well, but, I mean, we are now living in a country where the government has been caught out just trying to cancel local elections for political gain.
No, that's completely wrong. I mean, first of all, I don't think the Liberal Democrats would have not wanted it to go ahead. They're polling pretty well.
They did. It was one Liberal Democrat council applied to government to cancel it. That's simply not true.
No, I'm saying they wouldn't have wanted to do it because they thought they would do badly, because they're polling very well. But look, it wasn't the government that stopped this. It was local councils that were given the option because they are being restructured. And I actually think it's a terrible shame.
Tosh.
I think it's a terrible...
You're
not
just
all.
peddling the party line. That's exactly what Starmer said. And the Electoral Commission was quite clear weeks ago when it said that local government reorganisation was not a good enough reason to cancel elections.
Even Keir Starmer's admitted that isn't true. Surely you can now change your position.
It's just tosh.
It was, God forbid, I'll get a word in edgeways. It was local council leaders that wanted to do this, and it's because those are in authorities that are being restructured.
No,
I think
it's
it is
because
a total...
21 of those councils...
Thank God I'm not paid per word.
21 of those councils are Labour-run councils. It's not because they were restructured.
It's because they're being restructured. That's why they have the option to delay it. And I think it is a shame and a waste of money that these will go ahead, because it will cost £60 million to elect councillors that will not be there, in many cases, as soon as a year's time, because they are being reorganised.
You know what's going to cost?
That is a waste of public money. I would rather that went on fighting illegal immigrants than paying councillors that won't have
what's going to cost millions of pounds is
you
the
just
money.
Want more government and more bureaucracy.
You're just trying to make a noise now. What's going to cost even more money is councils now are going to have to be compensated because they're going to be in a mad scramble to get ready in time for the elections. They're going to be having to do it unnecessarily quickly. And Steve Reid is going to actually money, compensate them for that and give them more money.
And that's the £60 million.
That's our money.
And Carol's right, that is the £60 million figure. This is a shambles. You know, it's costing the taxpayers tens of millions of pounds, because Steve Reid, the local government secretary, and Keir Starmer attempted to illegally block the right of 4.6 million people to vote. And if Nigel Farage and Reform hadn't threatened to take the government to court, in fact, had issued the legal proceedings, was taking them to court, these people would have been denied a vote. That is why Steve Reid should go. Yes. He's the local government secretary. He's attempted to perpetrate an illegal election cancellation. It's cost us taxpayers 60 million quid. If that isn't a resigning matter, then what is?
This guy's a weapons-grade moron. I mean, have you ever seen anyone of this low calibre anywhere near office doesn't know? Because the other thing about it is how angry he gets when you question him. You know, it's not just... You can tell when someone's... I would argue a bit low IQ, because, you know, when they are saying things like, how many houses have you built, and they kick off... You know, they just have anger, they resort to anger. How can he possibly stay in power in a position?
Steve Reid is a very competent person. He was,
OK, fine, give us some evidence.
I've known him for many years. He was an excellent leader of Lambeth Council in South London. He's a perfectly intelligent person. The fact is that, you know, running a government is clearly not a simple thing for anybody.
He's out of his depth.
And no, sometimes other people make decisions and you have to deliver them. That's the nature of a cabinet. But the idea that electing a load of people to run councils that will not exist 12 months later is just a waste of public money.
It's not because, can I just say this? Because this country currently is in the doo-doo, right? We need open-heart surgery on various different aspects of it. And having councillors in a position for another 1 or 2 years, however long it was going to be...
would have been there for 7 years.
It would be 7 years, exactly, with no incentive to really do anything, no incentive to shake anything up, because they're going to be out on their backsides at some point in a couple of years. I would rather go through the cost of having elections now, people who are then elected into these positions,
so you think when
with a rocket up their backside...
When people can't get vital drugs on the NHS, or there aren't enough teachers in schools, you would rather the money go on a load of parish councillors to do a bit more bureaucracy that aren't going to be
So none of them are parish councillors. That's the first thing. We're talking about borough councillors, so that's the first thing. But actually, democracy is always inconvenienced people in power. You know, I can tell you I was elected for 14 years. I didn't go, there's an election, I might lose my job. It was always an inconvenience, but that's the country we live in. It is a democratic country. We elected members of the European Parliament. We elected members of the European Parliament to serve less than, I think it was 6 months, because we knew we were leaving the European Union. But that is how democracy works. You can't cancel it because it's inconvenient. You can't cancel it because it's expensive. We live in a democracy, and our Prime Minister and his cabal of people who've attempted to break the law by cancelling these elections in his cabinet don't like
But the weapons-grade moron here is Keir Starmer. He is a lawyer. He is the former boss of the Crown Prosecution Service. A cursory check would have allowed him to find out that cancelling elections are illegal. He didn't make that check, and he's trying to pretend today that he's just had legal advice today that they're... This is nonsense. They should have found this out weeks and weeks ago. They knew it was illegal, and they pursued it because they did it on the off chance they were going to be successful. And had it not been for Nigel Farage launching this High Court action, they would have stayed cancelled.
Well, anyway, there you go. And if you are one of these 4.6 million people who's now going to get a vote, then I'll be fascinated to see which way you're going to go. But, well, it's a great British giveaway. It's just a shred of democracy. No, it's not really. It's loads of cash. Here's Hayley Sparks, who sent us somewhere exotic.
You could win cash and the ultimate holiday in our 2-part Great British Giveaway. Thanks to Riviera Travel, you could be jetting off on a £10,000 dream holiday for 2 people. With flights, transfers and luxury accommodation included, you'll get to choose the kind of holiday you want. So whether you're looking for hotel comfort or on a relaxing river cruise, you'll be able to find the perfect match from over 30 global destinations on offer. And because the holiday is handpicked with you in mind, you know it's it's going to be perfect. Plus, we're going to give you £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. Your summer can start here, so make sure you don't miss out.
For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB19, PO Box 8690, Derby, DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 27th of February. The winner may be contacted live after all entry routes have closed. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Coming up, I'll have all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages and the news that the government has abandoned its plan to postpone some local election. Makes the front pages across the board pretty much tomorrow. I'll have all of that shortly. But before that, a Free Speech Union report has claimed that people involved in the new Islamophobia definition, who could have seen this coming, apparently have alleged links to Islamist organisations. No. Oh, blow me down with a feather. Oh, my gosh. Anyway, we'll talk about this in more detail next.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Morning, Angela. How are you?
Morning. I'm sitting here in the magnificent Old Bailey, right in the heart of the City of London, and just having a good giggle at you two.
Well, do you remember our dancer? We had a good time with Kai, didn't we?
I do. And you've joined me today because I've actually got just the other side of the wall from where I am at the moment. I've got 100 dancers ready to start performing at 9:30. We've got the press preview of our 2026 Let's Dance campaign, because I think I've told you about this before, Steve and Anne, that on March the 8th, we're hoping that the whole nation will be dancing on our National Day of Dance, when dance teachers all over the country, some between 20 and 30,000 of them, will be opening their doors and saying to people what you've been saying. Dance is the best kind of exercise you can possibly do for your mind and your body. And if you're somebody who wants to get fit, if you're a bit older and you want to keep, having a long and healthy lifestyle, but you don't want to go to the gym, you don't want to do a park run, particularly when the weather's like this in the rain, go to a dance class. It is the best exercise you can possibly do. And that's what we're trying to get everyone to understand or to experience on March the 8th. But leading up to that, today we've got our preview, and I've got, as I say, 100 dancers here, 10 dance groups who are all going to show us different forms of dance that demonstrate that dance really is brilliant for any age group and for any kind of dance that you want to do.
Are they all ladies? Because I think a lot of people worry about taking up dancing that they haven't got a natural partner.
Oh no, we've got quite a lot of ladies here, yes. But I mean, for instance, the group of over 60s that have come here from the Place, which is the headquarters for contemporary dance, half men and half women. I've got an entire male group who are dancing for mental health.
GB News, the People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back. All of tomorrow's newspaper front pages coming your way shortly. But first, a damning report by the Free Speech Union has claimed that the government's new Islamophobia definition is being drawn up by people with connections to Islamists. So, according to the report, the former Tory Attorney General Dominic Grieve KC, who chairs the working group tasked with drafting an official definition of Islamophobia, decided to support the controversial 2018 all-party parliamentary group definition of Islamophobia as, quotes, a form of racism, after seeking advice from community leaders when he chaired a Citizens' Commission on Muslims in 2017. Another member of the working group is Baroness Shyster Gohir, who allegedly appeared to tweet support for Hamas in 2014. She also apparently wrote a report branding talk of Muslim grooming gangs over-representation as Islamophobic, so we get where we're going here, don't we? Baroness Shyster was also accused by The Times of hosting an extremist in Parliament during an event. Another member of the group ran for Respect Party George Galloway's outfit, who has been previously accused of having links to extremists, although I imagine he would vehemently deny that. Right, I'm joined now by the founder of Tell Mama, who is Fiaz Mughal. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Are you concerned that there's potentially links to Islamists amongst the people who are set to be helping to shape the new Islamophobia definition?
I'm always concerned that when people are in the heart of government, that government should be doing their due diligence to check what kind of connections and associations they have. And I tell you, the fact of the matter is, I question this government's due diligence on a range of issues, particularly around Islamist issues. And one of the issues here is that the definition has such an impact on our personal freedoms and the rights of us in terms of free speech, that this issue is something we should be seriously concerned about, and also the process by which each one of these hand-picked individuals, because they've been hand-picked by Labour, are basically creating a definition which is going to impact our rights going forward. And I have a real issue around that.
Absolutely. Led me perfectly on to the next point I was going to make here, right, which is, you know, is it... One of the criticisms about this new definition of Islamophobia is that actually it could be used to stifle free speech and freedom of discussion, fair criticism, potentially mockery even, dare I say it, which we're all open to, right? I mean, people can mock me. People do mock me regularly, no doubt. And I defend their right to do that, right? But is there a concern here now that this Islamophobia definition is being drawn up by people who actually are going to use it just to silence anyone who wants to talk about Islam or any of the potential negatives of Islam in the UK?
I mean, absolutely, there is an issue if you look at some of the terminology. Let's just start off with the fact that this definition was firstly a definition on Islamophobia. Once that term, Islamophobia, which is a hopeless word, was debunked, and in effect the government knew it couldn't continue on, it changed the terminology to anti-Muslim hostility. Now, anti-Muslim hostility, the hostility is such an open term. So, for example, if you say that I don't believe people should have multiple wives, and I don't believe that, for example, people should force their religious views onto other people, are you being anti-Muslim and hostile towards individuals? The very term hostile is so elastic that you could find yourself actually even falling into that if you, for example, are critical of polygamy. That's point one. Point two, what is happening now is that individuals on this working group are saying that anti-Muslim hostility should also be lumped in with an identification of Muslims and race. Now, that is a ruse. I'll tell you why it's a ruse, because what they're trying to do is to put in other further protections around this issue for Muslims and Islam. They're putting further protections, even though the law says that Muslims are not a race and there are legal precedents. These people are trying to lump the race element in so that there are further protections. The reality is that the definition of anti-Muslim hatred is pretty simple. You know, we all dislike hatred and I would say kind of physical actions against Muslims, mosques, and the property of Muslims. But these individuals are taking this definition and making it so elastic, and that is where the impact on all of us is going to come.
Absolutely. Well, Fiaz, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I know that we're going to pick this up again at some point, probably in the coming weeks and months. Fiaz Magalda, who is the founder of Tell Mama. Now, Dominic Grieve, who was mentioned earlier, told GB News, I did not support the all-party parliamentary group definition of Islamophobia. I was not a member of the APPG. I wrote a foreword to the APPG report, which covered much more than a definition and said it was an important contribution to a needed debate. I suggest you look at the Citizens UK report on the missing Muslims to see what it was about, rather than rely on the opinion of the Free Speech Union. On the tweets appearing to support Hamas, Baroness Goher had said on X that when referring to resistance in Gaza, she meant emotional, legal and civil society activism. She says that posts have been selected to appear that she supports Hamas. On the accusation by The Times of hosting an extremist in Parliament, said, I wasn't in charge of the invite list. A charity organised the event and no one said anything, so this is the first time hearing of it. Right, anyway. Coming up, all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages. Breaking news on the front page of the Daily Express. The Prime Minister is secretly plotting to lock us back into the EU. OK, PM secretly plotting to lock US back into the EU. So lock us back into the EU even. There we go, that makes more sense now. All the details in just a few minutes' time.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Hello there, and welcome to your winter sun forecast from the Met Office. If you're looking to head towards the Mediterranean over the next few days, it will be sunny in places, but there is still some persistent rain at times. The Canaries do have the best of the sunshine, but Portugal and northern Spain do cling on to a lot of this rain. Italy at the moment does see a lot of that sunshine, but out towards Greece and Turkey, we do have this persistent rain with some thunderstorms in the mix as well. Temperatures-wise, especially across Tenerife, we will see those temperatures get up towards those low.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Hi there and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. During the next 24 hours, showers will clear, but they'll leave in their wake icy patches for northern and eastern parts of the UK, where it'll also be windy. With that wind coming from the north, it's bringing cold air. So once showers move through, there will be some tricky conditions first thing Tuesday. Slippery surfaces out there on roads and pavements. Having said that, we'll also see some sleet and snow showers across north of Scotland into the east and southeast of Scotland and eastern England overnight. Mostly any snow accumulations over hills, but patchy small amounts at lower levels, and the main hazard, of course, first thing Tuesday will be ice, because it's going to be a cold start out there, but a bright start for many, having seen the showers clear earlier in the night and widespread clear skies develop. Blue skies are expected first thing across many parts of the UK, especially central parts of England into Wales, Northern Ireland, central and western Scotland, cloud-free skies, but a chill in the air. Then we've got further sleet and snow showers coming into the northeast of Scotland, but these are easing through the day. Eastern England, a blustery start with some very strong winds first thing. They tend to moderate by the time we get to the afternoon, and then for many it's just a dry and bright day. But it will turn cloudy towards the southwest later on. 7 Celsius here, 4 or 5 further north and east. When you factor in the strong wind, it's going to feel more like 0 or 1 degree. Now, the cloudier skies in the southwest will bring an area of rain in overnight, and that's going to spill into Northern Ireland, parts of South Wales and the southern part of England by Wednesday afternoon. Some heavy rain eventually, and that's going to turn to snow over the hills in the south, I think, on Wednesday night into Thursday. Thursday turns drier with plenty of sunshine for many.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health, Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight. We are going to give you all of your front pages now, so here it is. The Guardian. Anger as PM abandons plans to delay May elections. There's a lot of this going about on tomorrow's papers. The Daily Mail, Starmer forced to face wrath of voters. They've also got posh parties at Cruise's 21st, but guess who wasn't there? Brooklyn, presumably. I think that's probably
Paddington Bear.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know. There's a lot of people who could be. And also, why a full police inquiry into Andrew is the only way to restore trust in a monarchy. There we go. Right, The Independent. Another Starmer U-turn as local poll delays abandon. Nigel Farage forces Labour into a retreat over the plan to postpone council elections. The iPaper, Farage forces elections U-turn, triggering next threat to Starmer leadership. Yeah, I mean, again, I do hope that some of these left-wing papers remember this, you know, the next time they're calling Farage a fascist, right, is him literally trying to get elections on in this country and succeeding. Just to round us off, the Metro, PM's vow to stop the bots. Online safety worries every parent, says Starmer, as he considers a social media ban. Yeah, so basically kids will be able to vote from 16, but they won't be able to look at social media until the day they turn 16, which is a bit ridiculous, isn't it, really? Anyway, why don't we just bring up the front page? Farage forces elections U-turn. Labour abandons plans to postpone May local elections. I suppose, Ajay, how potentially damaging is this for Starmer that he's been forced into this?
Well, it's very damaging. I remember from the fall of Boris Johnson, what ultimately killed him wasn't one particular thing, whether it was Partygate or anything else. It was the fact that he repeatedly sent his troops out, his ministers, his MPs, to sort of go on shows like brilliant shows on GB News and say, this is why we're doing this, it's the right thing to do, to then a few days later have to go back on and say the opposite thing. So it's going to really damage him in Parliament, but also more widely in the Labour Party. You know, local councillors who've been thanking their lucky stars that they didn't have an election. Now suddenly they have to find a slate of candidates. They have to raise some money to pay for their leaflets. They have to get their campaign up and running. They have to get their leafleters out there. They thought they were all going to have a nice, jolly year off and just keep on going. And so he's going to be hugely unpopular with the Parliamentary Party, with the Voluntary Party, and, you know, a man who is already on his knees has frankly taken one more blow.
I do wonder... There's a slight conspiracy theory bit here, is the idea that maybe he's decided he's just had enough and that the thing that will eventually do for him is the May elections, is getting an absolute monumental drubbing, and he's just thought, oh, you know what, let's just let it wash over.
But he hasn't given up, because on the Jeremy Vine show this morning, he said quite categorically that there'd be no more U-turns and that he wasn't giving up and he was going to fight on with the manifesto, not realising that everything he's implemented from the manifesto he's had a U-turn on, 14 U-turns.
He's a common sense merchant.
And the thing is, you know, these U-turns don't get you any more votes. They do the opposite. They actually turn people away from you. And the thing is, every U-turn he's done hasn't been because he thinks he's done the wrong thing. It's to save his own backside. And we see that. Voters see that. So they're never voting for him. The guy, you know, is there a word that's worse than incompetent? I can't actually think, if, you know...
Not on TV.
Well, no, not a swear word, but, you know, he is beyond incompetent. incompetent not to see what all these U-turns
The
have
Mail's
done.
front page is quite good on this as well, if you bring that up. But yeah, I mean, it's just Starmer forced to face the wrath of voters.
Well, I think it's a mistake to do that. I'm sure he'll be glad to have people having a say, and maybe he'll do better than expected. You know,
Are you on pills? I mean, you're sounding nonsense. What do you mean? Maybe he'll do better than expected.
Well, he might.
He's going to get slaughtered.
He might. You know, I mean, let's actually look at the polls. Take some facts for once, Carol.
Yeah, let's.
Labour has not fallen in the polls in recent weeks. Keir Starmer's rating has not fallen in the polls in recent weeks.
Minus 46 rating. That's Starmer's popularity.
Can't get any lower.
Minus 46, the worst in history.
But it's stable.
You do realise,
Up to life support, there's wires coming out, but he's stable. He's stable.
You need
anyway.
to lie down.
Right, OK. Now, look, I wanted to bring this to you because I just thought this was quite funny. So, bystanders in Hong Kong airport captured the shocking moment a British passenger had a meltdown. Has anyone here ever lost it at an airport?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I can believe that, Carol, actually. Yeah, well, have a look at this. Well, police were very quickly called to the scene and successfully restrained him. In a further twist, officers reportedly discovered 4 Viagra tablets inside the man's backpack. And under Hong Kong law, it's illegal to possess Viagra without a doctor's prescription. Offenders can face up to 2 years in prison and a substantial fine. So they don't do limp sentences over there, do they?
Oh, clever.
But there we go. I mean, that is a bad day out, isn't it?
When I say I've lost it at airports, I mean, I've raised my voice a little bit, but I've never quite...
I can imagine you on...
I could see that with Carol if she didn't get a free upgrade. I could see that.
No, I never get upgrades. No, I get a bit terse.
Yeah, because you're already in first class.
No, I'm not already in first. What do you think I earn, for God's sake? No, I mean, I've never...
I'm in business.
No.
Oh, says Sir Jake Berry. Yes, hello. Never travels...
Carol has to spend a winter fuel allowance on something,
so... Aren't they clever?
I can imagine. Do you remember those episodes of, was it Airline or Come Fly With...
Yes.
Was it Airline?
Come Fly With Me was the mock
with the real one, where it was EasyJet, wasn't it? And they'd do things like, you know, be like, yeah, like I didn't think I needed my passport to go to France, and then just go absolutely mental at some poor woman who's working on the check-in desk. I mean, yeah, it was ridiculous.
But also, I mean, Hong Kong is not the place.
Not the place to lose it. No,
he's going to be in serious trouble, you imagine.
Be sharing a cell with Jimmy Lai now, won't he? Well,
Also, it does frustrate me because obviously it's a British man, and why do Brits abroad just have to be so poorly behaved?
Well, it was British Airways that he was attacking, so come on, at least he kept it in the family.
Actually, I did once have a tantrum with British Airways in Hong Kong.
What do you mean once had a tantrum?
They cancelled a flight.
British Airways is shocking.
It is actually really shocking.
I think we should ban them from flying the flag of our country. They're that bad. I seriously do.
Somebody's got to fly the flag.
They once landed me at the wrong airport. Literally just landed me at the wrong airport. Well, it was... and everyone else in business. No, and everyone else... I've never flown business class. I don't know why I care about that anyway. But no, but they just went, oh, sorry, whoopsie, we're going to Stansted. OK, great. No, shocking. Anyway, coming up, breaking news on the front page of The Times. Claims that the Prime Minister's pick for the next Cabinet Secretary was a bully were covered up, apparently. So, there we go. It's gone from bad to worse. More on that next.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
First of all, let's get a grounding here. What makes Scotch Scotch?
Well, first of all, and most importantly, Scotch whisky must be made and aged here in Scotland, but it goes beyond that. So, for example, it must be aged in oak barrels here for a minimum of 3 years. It can't contain any added flavourings. It must have a minimum strength of 40%. Quite a long list of requirements that makes Scotch whisky unique to Scotland.
And of course it must be delicious in every glass and every tasting, doesn't it? Now, around the world, you know, we hear about fakes, we hear about counterfeits. How do people take advantage of Scotland? We see a lot of Scottish-style whiskies out there, and that's where you come in.
Well, absolutely. So the Scotch Whisky Association, on behalf of the industry, is there to protect the geographical indication Scotch whisky. So sometimes we're dealing with products that are called Scotch whisky when they're not. For example, they've not been aged. In other places, people are trying to take advantage of our culture. They might be using tartan, they might be showing bagpipers, using the words Glen, Mook, all these sort of things to try and confuse people into thinking that what they're drinking is Scotch when it certainly isn't.
Now, it's quite common. We see, obviously, you know, a lot of us go on holiday and we see bottles of whiskey and we want to bring them home. Sometimes they even look unusual, and that's why we want, you know, people want to bring them home. But if somebody thinks that they're bringing home not the genuine article of an established distillery, what kind of things are they looking out for?
Well, first of all, I can reassure everyone that if you're buying your Scotch whisky from a normal retail channel, duty-free, then the chances of coming across a fake are tiny, infinitesimal, because they have very strong controls. And it's also worth noting that all brands of Scotch whisky must be verified by UK Customs.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. Let's get you the rest of tomorrow's newspaper front pages. The Telegraph, Starmer U-turns on cancelled elections. There is obviously a theme here across the front pages, which is basically this, that the local elections are back on. The Times, Starmer's plan to delay elections abandoned. The Daily Express, PM secretly plotting to lock us back into the EU. The Sun, line of H-bomb, they've gone for that. Villain ID twist in next series. The new Line of Duty series will reopen the hunt to identify arch-villain H after fans were furious at last season's finale, apparently. So there you go, that's great, isn't it? And the Daily Mirror, save our next generation. So this is a story in relation to the social media ban, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
A grieving mum welcomes a change in data law, but calls for more action. A grieving mum welcomed a change in the law on social media giants, but urged PM Keir Starmer to act now to protect children online. The Daily... yes, so there we go, those are your front pages. Now, one of you spotted a story on the front of the Daily Telegraph. Vauxhall sells diesel cars again.
But not in Britain. So this is the company that owns Vauxhall has decided to start selling diesel vehicles, including the Citroën Berlingo, apparently. It owns multiple car firms across Europe, in the European Union, but not in Britain, although a Peugeot has recently reintroduced a diesel car to the British market. And this shows, actually, how far out of step the British car market under Ed Miliband and his insane net zero zealotry has gone from the rest of Europe. You wouldn't think that we would be, selling diesels across Europe, but not in Britain. And the British car industry is absolutely struggling. I've almost said on its backside there, I think I can probably say that. It's on its backside. It's making fewer cars now than it was doing 70 years ago. And it's because we are very good at building internal combustion engines in this country. Chinese are good at making battery vehicles. They're flooding the market. It is time that this government step back from the electric vehicles and enabled us, like they're doing across Europe, to start selling diesels again.
But the bottom
is
has
what
dropped,
people want.
The bottom has dropped out of the electric car market in this country. No one's buying them anymore. No one wants them. There are taxi companies in this country that don't have a single electric car because they don't trust them. They lose time and work and money because of them. And you go to any garage forecourt, you can pick up an electric car for next to nothing. No one wants them.
Well, I mean, look, I was in China a couple of months ago, and most people drive electric vehicles there. It's much cleaner, much healthier.
Because they've got
a much more pleasant environment.
But they've got the infrastructure there. They've sorted it. Here we have not.
And that's why I think the target for electric vehicles in this country makes sense, because then you will drive the demand, which will bring down the costs, and that's how we get to a cleaner way to get around.
It's done the opposite. 4 years ago, we were selling more electric cars than we're selling now. They're just not selling because the infrastructure isn't there. Well, people are sick of them breaking down, sick of the things that are. There's not the what do you call them, refuelling pumps everywhere.
Charging points. So there's been a big... And the other thing is, let's not forget, in another genius move, which she is well renowned for, our Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, did a massive tax grab on electric vehicles at the last budget. They were unpopular already. She's killed them. Funnily enough, Patrick, I went and got a hire car from a Hertz, which I've got because someone ran into the back of me on the toll road, so my car got hauled off to be repaired. And I said to the guy at Hertz, I said, whatever you do, don't give me an electric vehicle. And this was in central London. He said, don't worry, we don't have any, because no one wants them. People want petrol cars, people want diesel cars. They do not want these electric vehicles. And we've got a government that is trying to force them upon us against the will of the British people.
You know, I do have a problem. Some of these electric vehicles I get very nauseous in. I get really sick because they sort of jolt with the way that they're made. And apparently that is a big problem. Lots of the drivers
My husband got locked in.
So
my husband got locked inside his for 2 hours.
Was it by you?
How much did you pay the manufacturer for that, Carol?
Everything failed. Imagine if he'd crashed into a lake or something. He couldn't get out. Everything just closed down. He said it just made this noise. It went clunk. And that was it. He was just stuck in there.
Oh, you had a blissful 2 hours.
That's what he told you.
No, I was there.
I was stuck in the car.
That's on the window. I'm just here for your bad jokes.
Well, it's also how quiet they are as well. So I was in the back of a Prius once as an Uber. As part of an Uber that I was taking. And some poor bloke had just come out of a pub and obviously was a bit worse for wear and crossed the road and didn't hear the car coming.
Of course he didn't.
Because it was like, it's the silent thing.
Silent.
So there you go.
Well,
look, I mean, there's obviously loads on when it comes to the front page, which is a good job, but we've got another hour to get stuck into them. A variety of different takes on the Prime Minister U-turning on the cancelled elections. I mean, the Telegraph front page that you're looking at there, 4 million denied the right to vote in attack on democracy. No wonder this council doesn't want you to vote. They're wheeling out some previous headlines that they've done on this issue. Labour has weaponised law to thwart democracy. Revolt over cancelled elections. You know, let us vote. I just wonder when Keir Starmer looks in the mirror, you know, you think he's dined out, hasn't he, on being this really worthy guy who was like the doyen of North London dinner parties. And you think, you know, his track record when it comes to...
Well, he didn't like having what he regarded as his right to vote taken away from him. Do you remember during the prorogation of Parliament, when he was there and when it all went to court and he said, you've robbed me of my right to vote, to block Brexit and have a second referendum, which he was voting for. He didn't like it when he lost his right to vote in Parliament. He branded that illegal. He brought Her Majesty the Queen, the late Queen, into politics. Everyone else, by the way, you'll just cancel your election if you can get away with it. And Nigel Farage and Reform have stopped him getting away with it.
This is a guy, Starmer, who bangs on about honesty and integrity. Remember, he was going to, you know, he was going to bring it back into politics. He's done the polar opposite.
All right, OK, well, there we go. Right, well, look, like I said, we have got another hour to get stuck into all of your front pages. And in the next hour as well, we'll be talking about the fact that Barack Obama has literally just confirmed that aliens are real. So there we go, all that and more.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hi there and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. During the next 24 hours, showers will clear, but they'll leave in their wake icy patches for northern and eastern parts of the UK, where it'll also be windy. With that wind coming from the north, it's bringing cold air. So once showers move through, there will be some tricky conditions first thing Tuesday. Slippery surfaces out there on roads and pavements. Having said that, we'll also see some sleet and snow showers across north of Scotland into the east and southeast of Scotland and eastern England overnight. Mostly any snow accumulations over hills, but patchy small amounts at lower levels, and the main hazard, of course, first thing Tuesday will be ice, because it's going to be a cold start out there, but a bright start for many, having seen the showers clear earlier in the night and widespread clear skies develop. Blue skies are expected first thing across many